श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, verse number 10. You can repeat after me. Brahmani आधाय कर्माणि
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
लिप्यते न स पापेन
लिप्यते न स पापेन
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
लिप्यते न स पापेन
लिप्यते न स पापेन
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
लिप्यते न स पापेन
लिप्यते न स पापेन
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
पद्मपत्रम् इवाम्बसा।
Anyone would like to recite the verse?
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
लिप्यते न स पापेन
लिप्यते न स पापेन
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
पत्रमिवाम्बसा।
ब्राह्मण्य अध्याय कर्माणि
ब्रह्मण्यादाय कर्माणि
संघं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
संगं
संगं
त्यक्त्वा
त्यक्त्वा
करोति यः
करोति यः
लिप्यते नाशपापेन
लिप्यते न स
लिप्यते न स
पापेन
पापेन
पद्मपत्रम् इमम्बसा।
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा।
पद्मपत्रमिवाम्बसा। Okay, we'll go for synonyms. Brahmani,
ब्रह्मणि
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Adhaya,
Adhaya
resigning.
resigning.
Karmani,
Karmani
all works.
all works.
Sangam,
Sangam
attachment.
attachment.
Tektva,
Tyaktva
giving up.
giving up.
Karoti,
Karoti
performs.
performs.
Yaha,
Yaha
who.
who
Lipyate,
lipyate
is affected.
is affected.
Na,
Na
never.
never.
Saha,
Saha
he.
he
Papena,
papena
by sin.
by sin.
Padmapatram,
Padmapatram,
a lotus leaf.
a lotus leaf.
Iva,
Eva,
like
like
Ambasa,
Ambasa,
by the water.
by the water.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Purport. Here, Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the Pradhana. The Vedic hymns Sarvam Hi Etad Brahma Mandukya Upanishad 2. Tasmadetat Brahma Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate Mundaka Upanishad 1.1.9. And in the Bhagavad Gita 14.3, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma indicate that everything in the material world is a manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are differently manifested, they are not different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body, being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action, can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita 3:30, Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya. Resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. Translation. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So let's see the verse, what it's saying. So now we are in a fifth chapter, right? So fifth chapter in a section where Krishna is describing about karma yogi, and at the same time what is renunciation, working Krishna consciousness and everything. So let's see the overview first. So first 6 verses, it says about the karma yoga is equal to Jnana Yoga, but easier is Jnana, working Krishna consciousness. Then it says, by fixing mind on Atma, Karma Yogi remains free from bondage. That's where we are in that section 7 to 16. So we have to fix our mind on Atma. Karma Yogi remains free from bondage. And Krishna present in this verse is explaining how can we staying in this material world free from bondage. This material mode, Prabhupada says in the purport, saying that when this material nature has 3 modes, and these 3 modes always have impact on the actions of the soul, because that's why due to these 3 modes we are conditioned. So, but how can we can't have any escape from this material world. Only thing is we need to get connect to Krishna and surrender to Krishna. But even that is also a process. It's not one day or one time, or it depends on our level of surrenderness. But due to that, even that progress of developing our connection towards to Krishna, how can the conditioned soul become free from bondage? Even though existing in this material world, how can he get free from bondage? That's where this section is describing, and we are at 10th verse. So let's see the verse. Brahmanyadaya karmani. Brahmani means here, Prabhupada translates that one as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adhaya means resigning. Karmani means all works. So then what happens? Brahmana adaya karmani. Adaya means to offer, resign everything, hand over to everything. So when one does one's karma, he thinks this like is for the absolute truth. Like, he resigns everything. Like, let's see that next one. Sangam tektva karoti yaha. How can he do the karma? Karoti means doing. How can he do the karma? When one give up attachment and acts. So he sangam tektva. Tektva means giving up. Sangam means attachment. So this sangam also comes in dhyayato vishyan pumsa. Sangasteshu pajayate. Sangha means attachment. So that attachment. So one has to work how giving up attachment. Tektva, sangam tektva, karoti act. And what will happen if he works like that? Then third line it comes lipyate. Lipyate means affected. Nasa papena. So he don't, if the person acts in that way, giving up attachment and acts and resigning all other things and working for the or thinking for the absolute truth, that is Brahmani here. If one is situated in that one, he is not affected by any kind of sinful reactions, like sinful actions, papena. Then how here it's a metaphor given in this verse, that is the last line. Padma patra ivambasa. Padma means lotus flower, patra means leaf. So ivambasa, iva means like, ambasa means water. So how the lotus leaf stay in the water, but still being in the water, but it's not affected by the water, means the lotus leaf won't hold the water. Like the surface is like that. Even if we pour so much water and if we dip into the water, not even single like tiny drop of water touches. There is no contact between lotus leaf and the water. So that's how the person who is in Krishna consciousness, who is working with without attachment, giving up attachment and acts for the welfare or for the pleasure of the Krishna, that is the how he is also being in this material world. He is unaffected by anything from the material things. So that is the what this verse is saying. And it says like, karma yogi, like, here Prabhupada says in the purport, Prabhupada gives like, 3 references, like Vedic hymns, Mandukya Upanishad, Manduka Upanishad, and 14.3, like Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma, like he is, everything is Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya. So everything, all the living entities, I'm the Yoni, I'm the source, I'm the seed giving father for every living entity. And everything in this material world is a manifestation of Brahman. That is the Brahman which is used in this verse, like a Brahmani means the supreme personality of Godhead. So although like, these affects differently, like, these we are situating in this material world, but it don't affect by giving up all the attachment and working for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So in Isha Upanishad, Prabhupada is quoted here, Isha Upanishad, Isha Vasham Idam Sarvam. So everything is, source of everything is Krishna. Like even Brahma Samhita, it says like, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So that last phrase, Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes. Whatever thing we take in this material world, the root goes to Krishna. Whatever, like, it's, if anything made with any matter also, then the basic, the ore of the thing, it comes from the Krishna. That's why he is called a Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. That's what here it's saying. Even though the person karma yogi who works for the pleasure of Krishna and with an attachment to the acts, so that's where he is unaffected by the sinful action. He's not going to affect by any sinful action, and he lives like a untouched by water, the lotus feet. So the lotus leaf, how it is untouched by water, in that same sense he lives in this material world. So he, like, it's kind of Jivan Mukta. In depth it comes in the coming next verse, like how he lives and what, by living like that, like what he is going to achieve, and what is the state, like, this state is called, it's called Mukta, Jivan Mukta. That will come in the next verse. But here it Krishna gives the glimpse like by, even though if you work like for the pleasure of Krishna, even you are living in this material world, as everything it comes from me, from Krishna, and you are using everything for the pleasure of Krishna, so you are unaffected by this material nature, the existence of this material nature. So one more verse quoted by Prabhupada is 330. Mayi sarvani karmani, resign all works unto me. So that is the what the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita also says, that sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So it says sarva dharman parityajya. So abandon all the religions, like, all the things, like, then what we need to do, second immediate step is Mam ekam sharanam raja, 1 point resolution. That's what, like Vivasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana, 1 point resolution. So Mam ekam sharanam raja, you have to take completely shelter of me. That too only, I am the only shelter for you, like that. Then what will happen? Aham toam sarva papebhyo, I remove all of your sinful actions. Then aham toam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami masajaha. So I'm for sure, there is no doubt, I will liberate you. So related that one only, here it's talking about the liberation, but not in a direct, like, about liberation, but how Krishna is telling here, how being like it's instructing to Arjuna, you be situate like this in a karma yogi, like, you work for the pleasure of, don't get attached to your actions. So it's indirectly saying to Arjuna, you fight, but for the pleasure of Krishna you do, and you don't get attached, or you don't due to that one you don't get any sinful action. So if you remember in the first chapter, Arjuna raised a request saying that one, oh, how can I kill all these things? If I kill all these people, my relatives and all these people who are standing in Kurukshetra, I will incur lot of sin. So that was the one question or one concern put in front of Krishna, like, he felt like, I don't want to, I'll go to hell if I kill all these people, I'll incur a lot of sin by killing this. So to counteract that one, like Krishna is saying here, so if you act for the pleasure of Brahmani, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with unattached mode, and that's where you are unaffected by sinful action. So that is the thing. So if this is a very much related to the direct question of Arjuna in first chapter. So basically Krishna is saying, be a karma yogi, situate in that situation, work for the Krishna, and don't get attached to the actions. So that's what here it says. The last sentence, the conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concepts of the material body and senses. So that's where the speciality of Krishna consciousness comes, like, the devotees in Krishna consciousness, the people who are in Krishna consciousness also, they keep Krishna in the center. They don't work on the bodily conception of and at the same time on the senses. But a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge. That knowledge is given by the previous acharyas, and that the body is the property of Krishna. So devotee thinks this body belongs to Krishna, it's the property of Krishna, and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. So definitely the soul gets the body according to their conceptions, which carries the impressions of their minds carries, and the Krishna provides that facility to enjoy, to fulfill the desire of that soul's temptations, or whatever enjoyment, whatever they carry out from birth after birth. So, but thinking that one Krishna provided, see, basically Krishna only gives this body to us, to provide the environment to fulfill our desires, to make us happy. So that thinking that one, like that knowledge, okay, Krishna has given this body not for my of course Krishna want to please us, but at the same time we want to go back to Krishna, because this place is material world is place of misery. So that's why the person in Krishna consciousness with that knowledge acts always like considers this body is property of Krishna, and therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. So he uses all his body in the service of Krishna. So that's what I have for this verse. This verse is small, so if anybody have any comments or questions or corrections, please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
We're here, but don't have any questions today.
Okay, then we'll go for, thank you, Mataji. If no comments, no questions, then we will go for the next verse, and I'll share my screen. It's a 511, and we'll read that one. That one is a continuation for this verse. So Krishna is going to describe more in detail. In previous verse, Krishna said, like, how to live in this material world. Even living in this material world, how to be free from bondage, like that. Then now it goes in deep, like, how by living that one, what we will get, that is going to explain in this verse, and how we need to live that, like that also it's going to explain here. So we will read the verse. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tektvatma shuddhaye. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrayairapi yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tektvatma shuddhaye. So let's see the synonyms. Kayena with the body, manasa with the mind, buddhya with the intelligence, kevalai purified, indriyai with the senses, api even, yoginaha Krishna conscious persons, karma actions, kurvanti they perform, sangam attachment, tektva giving up, atma of the self, shuddhaye for the purpose of purification. Translation: the yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses only for the purpose of purification. Purport: when one acts in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the senses of Krishna, any action, whether of the body, mind, intelligence, or even the senses, is purified of material contamination. There are no material reactions resulting from the activities of a Krishna conscious person. Therefore, purified activities, which are generally called sadachara, can be easily performed by acting in Krishna consciousness. Sri Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-187 describes this as follows. Ihayasya haredasye karmana manasagira nikilaswapi avastasu jivan muktaha savuchyate. A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, intelligence, and words, is a liberated person even within the material world. Although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities, he has no false ego, for he does not believe that he is this material body or that he possesses the body. He knows that he is not this body and that this body does not belong to him. He himself belongs to Krishna, and the body too belongs to Krishna. When he applies everything produced of the body, mind, intelligence, words, life, wealth, etc., whatever he may have within his possession, to Krishna's service, he is at once dovetailed with Krishna. He is one with Krishna and is devoid of the false ego that leads one to believe that he is the body, etc. This is the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. So let's see the continuation of that verse. It says, Kayena manasa buddhya. Kayena means body. Manasa means mind. Buddhya means with the intelligence. So see, previous verse it says, Karma Yogi works with detachment, and he works for the pleasure of the Lord. Then how he works is described here. How he works with Kayena manasa buddhya, with body, mind, intelligence. Kevalairindrayerapi, even in Indriya also. Indriya means senses. For what? For purified. So purified senses. With the purified senses, he works with his body, mind, and intelligence. Yoginaha karma kurvanti. So yogi means the person in Krishna consciousness who works like this. So because this whole chapter, the title is actions in Krishna consciousness means the yogi who is in Krishna consciousness, how he works, and the result of the work, how it is going to affect him. Like that, it's explaining. So, yoginaha karma kurvanti means Krishna consciousness person, he performs the actions like this. Then sangam tektvatma shuddhaye. Sangam means attachment. Tektva means again giving up. Shuddhaye means for the purpose of purification. So let's see the translation. So the yogi is abandoning attachment. So sangam tektva. Tektva means giving up. What? Sangam means giving up attachment. So the yogi is abandoning attachment, act with the body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. So this is the key here. So the yogi in Krishna consciousness, like the person or karma yogi who is living with all the qualities described in the previous verses, his actions, karma, all his actions are the motivation behind that one is purification. Because with the knowledge given by acharyas, what will happen? They completely know the actions in which mood those are going to create bondage, and which mood, like which, how I need to get out of this one. All this, like, precondition already they gone through all these things. Like that's why they understood very well. They engage their body, mind, intelligence, and senses just for the purpose of purification. So he understood he's the conditioned soul. He is born by these modes of material nature, and these senses are like kind of making trap in this material world, and he's rotating in repeated cycle of birth and death. Everything is knowledge, like they enlighten. Then they come to this stage where they use this body. Say previous purport, like Prabhupada said, this body belongs to Krishna, and they use that body in the service of Krishna. It means that here the continuation is happening. They act, they use, they act. That means they do karma, they do activities with body, mind, intelligence, even with the senses. So how with the senses? Like there is a verse, right? Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvaina nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyati. Right? So master of the senses is Hrishikesha. Hrishikena sevanam. So by engaging the conditioned soul, giving up all the material designations. Upadi means designations, like a mother, father, doctor, or teacher. All these things are designations. So all designations, sarvopadi vinirmukta, keep it aside, all these material designations. Then tatparatvena nirmalam, with they need to engage in the service of the Lord. Who is the Lord here? Hrishikesha, the sense, the master of the senses. How we need to serve? Hrishikena sevanam, by engaging our senses in the service of Hrishikesha, who is the master of the senses. Then that is called bhakti ruchyate, that is called bhakti. So by engaging, so here also it's saying that the person karma yogi engages body, mind, intelligence, and senses. If you remember the third chapter, that last lust series comes, like where Arjuna asks what is the cause, like even if one don't want to perform sinful action, but still what impose the condition soul to let go to that do the sinful activities. Like Krishna replies, kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyenamiha vairinam. So the lust, the desire is the one which in contact of the mode of passion, that is a root cause for everything, right? So there in that series, if you see there, it explained like the ladder, like what are the priorities. Like first comes the matter, then senses, then the mind comes, then the intelligence comes, then above the intelligence the soul comes. So again, in the sequence verse, it says curb that is kind of an enemy of the lust at the very beginning. At the very beginning is the ladder is matter, senses, mind, intelligence, soul. So the very beginning we need to curb that one. So that prajahi means curbing, that stop that lust at the very starting level, so that it won't go higher and it won't make you spoil. So that very starting step is senses. That's where here, even with the senses, the stress point of the senses is, those are the one, once the senses are controlled, then it don't go to the mind and it don't go to the intelligence like that. So senses are the gateway, like, the desire enters into our consciousness through the senses. So by engaging those senses in the Krushikesha Sevanam, that is called bhakti. So that's what here it's saying. So the yogi abandoning attachment for the activity, but he engages his body, mind, intelligence, even senses for the purpose of purification. So why the purification comes means Krishna is the pure. It says like, so the verse in Padma Purana, it says Padma Purana. Yeah. So it says, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purno Shuddho Nitya Mukto. Purno means he's complete, and Shuddho means he's pure. Purno Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatva Nama Namino. So in that verse it says Shuddha means pure. He's the supreme pure. So when we get touch with the purity, then what will happen? We'll also get purification, right? So that's why to get that purification, we engage in spiritual activities, and that too how to please the Lord. When we please the Lord by engaging our senses, so automatically Krishna reciprocates. So each and every mantra we chant, each and every darshan we take, each and every name we call of the Lord names, it brings purification in us. But only thing is, we don't have the purity to perceive the reciprocation of Krishna. So for that one, what will happen? We may think that one, okay, I'm chanting so long, I don't know. Because purity, it comes. That's what Krishna says. Each and every glance you take towards to Krishna, it purifies us. That it comes in a gradual process. That's why in Brahma Samhita it says the bhakti comes in a stage level, like step by step, slow process. It's not like gradually it comes. It's not like a super fast or comes like okay, I chanted like 64 rounds on Ekadashi day, then I'm a pure devotee. No, it won't come like that. So bhakti comes like in a gradual process, and each and every activity we do in bhakti, the reciprocation of Krishna is there. It's not like Krishna is like sitting closed eyes or not listening to you or something. Krishna is a person. He's how much we love, Krishna loves more than that one, because that's why he is not leaving us. Even millions of births we have taken, we forgot all the things, and we forget Krishna also, birth after birth, sometime, like lot of times. But Krishna never leaves us, because Krishna is the one closest person who stays in our heart. So anybody, even the relationships in our material life, they may leave, but Krishna won't leave from our heart. So that's why Krishna is the closest person. So when we take shelter of Krishna, what will happen? The reciprocation happens. So the reciprocation comes in the form of a purity. So due to that, like purity, one day we will come to understand the pure form of Krishna, the pure qualities of Krishna. So that is the where the connection establishes slowly, gradually, through the spiritual activities. That's where the sadhana bhakti comes. So daily, sadhana means it's a practice. So it's not like even athletes are there. They don't do like one day. Okay, I'll go and I'll do whatever game we take in athlete like the sports or anything. They need practice. So years they practice. Otherwise, they can't achieve anything. Like everything in material world also require practice. So experience we call in actually in jobs, like how much experience you have. It means that how long you worked on that one. It means that personally you practiced. How long you worked on the technology means you practiced. How much you experience you have. So in the same way, in spiritual activity also, we need that one, like we need that gradual process, but we need to be patient, like one of the thing is, because Krishna reveals according to his will when and what and best time and everything. So but only one thing one should keep hope. Krishna is my best well-wisher. That's what it says. Peace formula is, how can one attain peace? By knowing three things. What is Bhoktara Megnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. If one knows these things, they are in peace. What is that one? Bhoktara Megnatapasam. All the sacrifices, the supreme enjoyer is Krishna. from all the sacrifices, whatever we do. Yajna tapasam, sarvalokam maheshwaram. He is the he is the sarvalokam maheshwaram. He is the cause of everything. Everybody comes from him. Then suhridam sarvabhutanam. He is the best well-wisher of everything. So one who knows this thing and who takes shelter of Krishna, they are in peace. So that's how, the karma yogi, the practicing of person practicing in Krishna consciousness, he acts according to the here as it described from the previous verses also. He engages his mind, senses, body and intelligence like that for the purpose of purification. This is the key here. No personal motives, no, it's like bhakti is like unmotivated, uninterrupted. That's what the person in Krishna consciousness aspire in their sadhana, to become one state, unmotivation. I don't want anything, Krishna. Only I do this one for the pleasure of you. I live and I do all my activities only as a service to you. Unmotivated and uninterrupted. What may come in my life, I don't leave your lotus feet. What may do in my life, that's how we take a vow in front of the spiritual master, right? We took I'll chant 16 rounds every day every day. That means, what does that mean? After that, when we do the fire sacrifice also, we take blessings from the fires, from the spiritual master and everything, because we are taking a vow, it's kind of sacrifice. So you're promising in front of the spiritual master to do some specific sadhana every day. So what may come in life, I have to stick to that sadhana. So that's how, a very beautifully, the Prabhupada designed this. See, imagine it's not patchwork or anything. Someone comes and modifies something, or someone, okay, this build is have defects and there's some patchwork sense. Okay, you work on this patch. Even with this build also, you can go to the production, and I will then due time one more build comes. It's not like that. This knowledge is as it is. So Prabhupada gave Bhagavad Gita as it is. Even after Prabhupada also, it's helping. And Prabhupada designed in such a way, any living entity can follow the spiritual practice. Anyone can come to the Krishna consciousness. So all these spiritual practices anyone can do. There are no hardcore rules. One has to become come to the certain condition, then only they can practice Krishna consciousness. No, nothing. Anyone can chant. Anyone can come to the temple. Anyone can do the participate in the kirtan. Anyone can take prasadam. These are the key rules. If any person on this earth can do these things, then automatically it comes in, he will be in Krishna consciousness. So these are the basic things. We think eating is routine, but taking prasadam is it's without eating, no one can sustain in this material existence. Make that one as a spiritual, offer to Krishna and eat it. So it's simplest process, but we make with our things bhakti is very hard or conditioned, a lot of things. So Prabhupada says it is simple, but I forgot that word, what Prabhupada says. Krishna consciousness is simple, but I'm not recollecting that word. Okay. So, but Krishna says, Prabhupada says,
The philosophy is simple, the application is difficult. Is that what you're trying to remember?
No, Mataji.
Simple for a simple, Mataji? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, but Prabhupada said that one. I think my husband can say, he only said few days back to me. If he remembers, he can say. Bhakti is simple, but something Prabhupada said. I'm not recollecting the phrase. Sorry about that. So that is how we can make our daily life to Krishna consciousness by simple making, no need to do any hard sacrifices to Krishna. Just make what we are doing, keeping Krishna in the center. How much we keep Krishna in our center, in our life center, that much closer we go towards to Krishna, and that much unattached to this material things won't bother us. So it's kind of knowledge and this sadhana both go together. So that's why here Prabhupada says, therefore purified activities which are generally called sadachar. Achar means practice. Sadachar means good activities, or which brings good in us. So those are called sadachar, can easily performed by acting in Krishna consciousness. So just by following Prabhupada instructions, by just following those activities, simple activities, one becomes sadachar. like they'll become like followers of the good activities. So that's how like it says. And Prabhupada quote the verse from the Rupa Goswami, iha yasya hare dase karmana manasa gira nikila swapi avastasu jivan muktaha savuchyate. So it says that if one who engages karmana manasa gira, so like body, mind and intelligence and words also. So gira means words. So all this body, mind, intelligence and words. So if one is engages these things in the service of Krishna, then what will happen? Jivan mukta sauchyate. Even though he is looking outwardly, doing some material things in this material world, but he is situated in liberated stage. So he is called as liberated person even within this material world. So this is the what exactly Krishna is going to tell to Arjuna. So you fight, and you don't attach to that fighting activity. Leave the result to Krishna. Act in Krishna consciousness and serve in that way, and you engage your body, mind, intelligence and senses for the pleasure of Krishna. Then what will happen? You will be looking like you are acting in the war and you are killing all the people, but you will be in the liberated stage. So but we can't say like, I'll kill a person and I was thinking of Krishna, like I'll kill a person, then it is I'm not going to get anything, I'm in a liberated stage. It's not like that. We need some minimum knowledge, who is Krishna, how we need to connect, and how I need to engage, and by engaging these things what I am going to get minimum. And our action should be key is to give pleasure to Krishna. So Krishna won't happy if I kill someone and say that when I remembered you, I killed him. No, because it's not giving pleasure to Krishna. So it's not like, say if a person is there, if my husband is there, if I cook something which he don't like it also. No, I cooked because you are my husband, you have to eat. No, because like, it has to be there, has Krishna has like that. That's why Krishna says what we need to offer, what should not offer. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. It's the simplest method. So customized process. You are like this. So when we go to the purchasing of electronics or something, we go for the assembled or customized like products. Like I want this TV with this kind of memory chip and with this capacity and with this kind of Bluetooth or all these properties I want, and I want this TV like that. So it's kind of customized like that. So Krishna don't sell like prescribed. Everyone has to be sit and chant like this many rounds, and everyone has to be offered this prasadam only. No, whatever it's there, our capacity, whatever we can do, Krishna is able to accept, and he is completely happy for that one. So example is like in Ramayana, like the squirrel did according to her level the service, and Hanuman did according to Hanuman that service. But both are equal. Both are equal. That's what Ram says. So you are doing according to your capacity, and squirrel is doing according to her capacity. So both are equal. So completely but thing is the mood. That's what Krishna consciousness. The consciousness is important. The mood is important. How much we are doing, that is not there, but how much we are pleasing to Krishna, that is there. Then with which consciousness we are doing the service is important. That's why Radhanath Maharaj says, mood of service is more important than the service. So it's not, what does it mean? Mood of service means in which consciousness we are doing service is more important than the service. So it's not like, I'm doing service like I'm doing like service. No, that is not the important. But with which mood we are doing that service is important. So that's how the Jivan Mukta it comes. Even though they engaging their body, mind and intelligence, how they engage? Because they need to develop that mood. They need to develop that consciousness, keeping Krishna in the center. How can they develop that consciousness, keeping Krishna in the center? By engaging this body, mind and intelligence is by practicing daily, gradual process, one after the other, hearing from the acharyas. So that's where reading scriptures, if all Prabhupada has given to us, so just like doing repeatedly the same thing. So one day, like we feel that we are engaging our body. So sometimes like we need to recall also, okay, how many times I remembered Krishna in my service, whatever we are doing. That is like a checkpoint. So even though it's from our side, it's a checkpoint. But Krishna sees Bhavagrahi Janardana. Bhavagrahi Janardana. Krishna sees the Bhava. So everyone here in the call, or every living entity, whatever they desire, they want to do, Krishna reciprocated. If anyone want to do some service, definitely Krishna provide that environment to do that service. Or if anyone is not capable to do some service, Krishna gives that ability. If we desperately want to do that service, so Krishna's reciprocation, that one only. So that's where, like, the key here is consciousness, making Krishna in the center. Through the, then how can I make this body, mind, and intelligence and words in the service of Krishna, use in the service of Krishna? That's where the consciousness comes. So here, that's why, like, at once dovetailed with Krishna. See, all these things, body, mind, intelligence, words, life, wealth, whatever he may have within his possession, to Krishna's service, he is at once dovetailed with Krishna. So that's what, like, Amrish Maharaj did. Lot of examples from the scriptures Amrish Maharaj did. So he's a king, but so he engaged everything. So we are going to see one more greatest personality, today's speciality. So before discussing for that one, I'll take a pause here. If anybody have any comments or questions, you can go ahead. After that one, we are going to talk with about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Today is the disappearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Very, very suitable verse from today's verse about his life. So that's what I have for this verse. If anybody have any comments, go ahead.
You mentioned lotus leaf not, holding water. So we should be like that, right?
Yes, Mataji.
But also the lotus leaf, the water on the lotus leaf is also given as an example as to how temporary our life is, that our life is like a drop of water on a lotus leaf that could fall any minute, So there are two different examples for the same thing, I was thinking.
Yes, Mataji, yeah.
That was by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Kamala Jala Dala Jivana Tala Mala.
No,
That
Mataji,
is
that is
Govindadasa.
Haripad, that's a different, that's not Bhakti, that Govindadas. Yeah.
Govindadasa. Bajahure Mana, that's
Oh,
Yeah,
Govinda.
yeah.
No.
Okay, if no one has anything, like, let's see, the today's is a disappearance day of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he is the one Acharya who, like, whatever we discussed so far, he showed by example how can one make Krishna in the center, even though doing their activities of their life, whatever, like, So let's see who is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So before that one, let's offer 1 second. So let's offer Pranam Mantra for Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So it says, Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchitananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Satchitananda Bhakti Vinoda, who is transcendental energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a strict follower of the Goswamis headed by Sri Rupa. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur comes in our parampara, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur did the 3 predictions, and let's see that predictions. First prediction he did is a personality will soon appear, and he will travel all over the world to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So that is Srila Prabhupada. And next, second prediction. So all these 3 came true. We are now in a situation where we are practically seeing all these things. That's what the acharyas are. They predict in future. The second prediction he did is, very soon the chanting of Harinam Sankirtan will be spread all over the world. Oh, when will that day come when people from America, England, France, Germany, Russia will take up kartals and brudangas and chant Hare Krishna in their towns? So it's already done. We are all seeing, and we are all experiencing this one. We are all practically seeing what's happened. And the third prediction is, when will that day come when the fair-skinned foreigners will come to Sridham Mayapur and join with the Bengali Vaishnavas to chant Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana? When will that day be? So this is also happened. So this is the how that Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted all these three things, and yeah, all three happened. So just to give the Bhaktivinoda Thakur, few incidents. He was a very good writer, and he preached very boldly, he don't scare or he don't go according to any person change anything or something. So he was by profession, he was like a judge in the under the British government. And so one incident, what happened, Bisaki Sena. So he was a mystic yogi that time, and he used to do a lot of mystic, and he used to show his powers and attract the people come to under him. And he openly declared he is from he was from Orissa, and he declared that one, with my mystic power I even control the British people also. So look, one day I will control all this government and I will make them to slaves to work with me, like that. And hearing this one, the British people ordered to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. His name was Kedarnath Datta that time. So they say that one, go and arrest that Bisaki Sena. So at the same time, he used to play with the girls also, like a rasa dance. Like he used to proclaim him like, I'm the Mahavishnu. So a lot of people you don't see, Brahma, Shiva, all Sarusmi. You don't look because you don't have a capacity to see them like that. So, but seeing all these things, Bhaktivinoda Thakur decided, he is he's a rogue, I want to keep it in the jail. Even when he kept in the jail also, in the prison also, that time, with his mystic power, he made whole the family of Bhaktivinoda Thakur to go through a lot of closer to death situations. Like they suffered so much of fever, health issues like that. Yeah, so when it's not this case, this discussion, it went like a few trials. It's not like a one-day discussion, but through the trial, the decision comes. Till that time, this family also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur family also suffered a lot. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, yes, let us all die, but this rascal must be punished. So he was bold enough, he wanted to punish him. Then after some time, he realized, all his mystic powers are there in his hair. So he asked to cut the hair of the yogi. Then they removed the hair of the yogi, and he was in the prison. And what happened? A lot of people used to guard that mystic power, the yogi. Then almost all 72 policemen used to watch that one person. So then what happened? Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he removed all the hair, then he lost all his powers, and he drank one day poison in the prison, and he died himself. So this is the how, he don't used to care. And he used to work as a judge in the court, but he did all his spiritual activities, he managed his life maintaining the family and everything. So I want to read his timetable, how he used to spend his whole day. So always I want, let me share my screen so that you all can see. So this is the how a Bhaktivinoda Thakur, daily schedule of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Always anxious to use every moment in loving service of Krishna. So these are the symptoms. Kshanti Ravya Avyartha Kalatam, devotee or the person who is in Krishna consciousness, they don't want to waste even single moment. Avyartha Kalatam. They feel anxiety. How can I use my time in the service of Krishna? That's how the anxious, always anxious to use every moment in the loving service of Krishna. And he followed this schedule, and he wrote 100 books about the spiritual. He wrote a lot of bhajans and inspiring, and his humility, even though doing so much, he was so humble, and he wrote Sharanagati songs also. So let's see this schedule. So it started from night. So 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. rest 2 hours. Then 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. write. And 4 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. rest 30 minutes. Then 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. chant japa. Okay, and 7 a.m. to 7:30 correspondence, whatever, 7:30 to 9:30 study sastras, not only writing, he used to read. And one of the readings he did is Shrimad Bhagavatam, and he read like a Sridhar Swami comments. And 9:30 to 10 like bath and prasad, and his prasad also it's mentioned like a half liter milk, fruit and 2 chapatis. And 10 to 1 court duties, and 1 to 2 refresh at home, 2 to 5 court duties, 5 to 7 translate Sanskrit Sastras to Bengali, 7 to 8 bath prashadam. So summary of the daily schedule is sleep 3 hours, write 8.5 hours, japa study for 4.5 hours, work for 6 hours. So apart from all this, he maintained the whole family, and he has a huge family too. So this is the how, he showed by example, whatever profession you are in, you can keep Krishna in center, you can do. So he used to chant and study 4.5 hours a day. Oh my God. So this is the how it says. And one more thing is he wrote nice song, chant anyway. So we'll read this one now. So I want to increase the font so that everybody, after this one we'll stop. So he says, chant anyway. Your mind is wandering all over the universe. When you chant anyway. Your mind is wandering to the past and future. When you chant anyway. You are not able to concentrate on Krishna's names while you chant anyway. You have no taste for chanting, chant anyway. You have lusty desires, chant anyway. You are making offenses in chanting, chant anyway. You are not praying to Krishna to help you chant better, chant anyway. You often chant late at night, chant anyway. So why should you chant despite all these above obstacles? This is why the reasons are given down. There is no vow like chanting the holy name, no knowledge superior to it, no meditation which comes anywhere near it, and it gives the highest result. No penance is equal to it, and nothing is as potent or powerful as the holy name. Chanting is the greatest act of piety and the supreme refuge. Even the words of the Vedas do not possess us sufficient power to describe its magnitude. Chanting is the highest path to liberation, peace, and eternal life. It's the pinnacle of devotion, the heart's joyous proclivity and attraction, and the best form of remembrance of the Supreme Lord. The holy name has appeared solely for the benefit of the living entities as their Lord and Master, their supreme worshipful object, and their spiritual guide and mentor. Whoever continuously chants Lord Krishna's holy name even in his sleep can easily realize that the name is a direct manifestation of Krishna himself, in spite of the influences of Kali Yuga. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Sharanagati, quoted from Adi Purana. So this is the what Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave about the holy name, and he wrote Harinam Chintamani also, beautiful descriptions about the holy name. So, and he humbled himself I don't have any bhakti. And in our daily basis, we sing his songs, bhajans like Gaura Arti written by him, and a lot of other bhajans also we sing Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote. So very inspiring Acharya, taking shelter at his lotus feet, begging for that, whatever he mentioned in that chanting, why to chant, so that with his mercy, one day we will experience, or one day we can get mercy of Bhaktivinoda Thakur by praying at him. And today is the one more special personality disappearance day, that is Gadadhar Pandit. So in the Panchatattva, Gadadhar Pandit stands next to left side to Mahaprabhu. So Gadadhar Pandit is the very personal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It says that one Gadadhar Pandit is Radharani in the spiritual world, he comes to be accompanied to Krishna comes in the form of Gauranga. So that's how today is disappearance day of Gadadhar Pandit too. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his spiritual world, he is called Kamala Manjari, and who works under the Rupa Gopis. Manjaris are the one who do the personal service to Gopis. So this is how it mentioned in the scriptures. So if anybody want to add any comments, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Very nice stories, Vallabhi Gopi. Thank you.
Yes. Yes,
And
Mataji.
isn't the deity in Mayapur? He bent, for Gadadhar Pandit, right? He couldn't do his services, so the deity bent, and he sat down, right? I forget the name of the deity.
It's not Mayapur, Mataji. It's in
It's a Tota
Oh,
Jagannath
Jagannath
Puri,
Puri,
Tota
yeah,
Gopinath.
Jagannath Puri,
Tota
yeah, Tota
Gopinath.
Tota Gopinath. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
So that is the only sitting Krishna with the flute in the,
right.
that's the only
So
deity
Gadadhar
that's.
Pandit can do the services, right?
Yeah. So when he put the garland, he had to stand up as an old man. He couldn't do it. And so the deity bent for him and sat down, And Bhaktivinoda, I was going to say Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Kamala Manjari, but you already said it. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a dream kind of, and he saw the spiritual world, and he saw a young 13-year-old girl picking like flowers from the field. And he could recognize like, okay, this is this person, but he couldn't recognize who the 13-year-old was. Who is this girl? Who is this girl? And then he realized that is himself. He himself is that person. So he made that connection in his spiritual realization, in his samadhi or whatever trance. I don't know if it's a dream or trance, but in that experience, he realized that he himself is that 13-year-old girl who was picking flowers in the field. So that's a nice. And then he also used to debate himself in Godruma Dvipa. When I went to Mayapur, that veranda is there where he used to pace back and forth, and he would chant pacing. And at that time, he would look on the other side, where now the TOVP, the Mahapur, the new temple of Vedic Planetarium is, and he would see that on the other side of the river, a temple will rise. So he made that prediction too, that the temple will rise. And so now in exactly the same place, from that balcony, you can see it, that same temple is now, it's not completed yet, but it's in the process. So.
Thank you, Mataji, for adding that. It's 8:07. We exceeded time. So we'll offer prayers to the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhishta Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Antakoti Vaishnavruti ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mataji, thanks for speaking about the special personalities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving your association. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. We'll meet
Hare
again.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.